Hey, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the rules of Appalachia?
Yeah, I do for the most part.
You do for the most part?
Yeah.
Good. Because I think we're going to dive back into that place tonight.
Oh, no.
Hello, Hotlings! My name is Alyssa, here with my ghoulishly gorgeous wife and co-host, Lindsay. This is Macabre at Midnight, where we dive into all things that sit on a scale, starting with the adorably spooky and ending with the truly disturbing. Tonight, guys, it's going to be a little bit shorter, but we are going to be looking back into Appalachia. We are going to look at something that we actually researched prior, and we were going to put it up before, but then I ended up taking a different route. So this one is really interesting. It should be fun. It keeps popping up in some of my feeds. So I was just going to take this as a sign that we need to go ahead and put this information out there.
All right. Also, side note, I'm not hosting tonight's episode, mostly because I didn't have enough time to finish the research on my topic.
No, things have been pretty crazy over here, guys. We're really mashing and packing for time.
Yeah, as we speak, it is 4:30 in the morning.
The good news, though, it's 4:30 in the morning, but we got new mics.
Yeah. So that is good. So
yeah, we got to recording really late. Usually we like to record around midnight, Macabre at midnight. But it took a few hours to get these mics ready. Plus, my dad's coming into town. He's going to be staying the night tomorrow before he heads up to my sister's on Monday. So we had to get the house ready. It's just been a whole freaking... Guys, it's been wild.
Oh, yeah. So if we sound a little...
tired...
yeah.
drained.
not as interactive or hilarious.
We're going to try and be interactive and hilarious though, guys. But we're tired. It's past our bedtime. We should have been in bed like an hour ago, but
yeah, no kidding.
We love you guys. We don't want to let you down, so we are recording. This is exactly why we were talking about recording ahead.
But yeah, do look for my next episode next Monday.
Yeah.
Though, for sure.
Watch for Lindsay's Nessie.
Yeah.
Nessie. Oh my God.
See, I guess Nessie's trying to peek up. Like, hey, me.
Me too. I get an episode. Don't expect me to English good, guys. Okay, I'm tired. Also, with my dad coming into town this week, I thought that this would be appropriate because my dad is super into aliens. Spoiler alert, this thing is actually an alien. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do both episodes this week. Again, Lindsay wasn't able to get her stuff together, so I went ahead and just took this one over, and I think we're going to go ahead and do aliens on the next one because my dad does enjoy aliens. I think that I would really enjoy it if he was able to sit in on an episode with us, and maybe...
Yeah, it would be fun if he would actually participate.
Yeah, maybe he can tell us one of his alien stories, you know? So...
Oh, speaking of which, we'll be starting our listeners' library on Wednesdays, which means Alyssa's usual Thursday episodes will be moved to Fridays.
Yep. We're going to space them out. We're going to do Monday, Lindsay's episode, Wednesday, listener library, Friday, it'll be my episode. And additionally, for that listener library, we were just going to do short horror fiction stories, but we have decided, because I've had a couple of submissions for people's personal stories, that we are going to take personal experiences too. So whether they're paranormal, maybe like close brushes with death.
How about even aliens?
Even aliens. Like we want your guys' stories. Just let us know if they're fiction or if they're personal experiences. And we will do you guys proud.
Yeah, we will. We'll narrate it and then discuss.
Yeah.
And then of course rate it.
Yes, and you guys can, we'll give you more information. You got to stay until the end of this show, though. Okay? Which, again, this one's not going to be real long, I promise. So, if it runs a little shorter, again, English, guys. I can't English tonight. But if it runs a little shorter than usual, it's because it is late. I should be in bed. We have to work in the morning. So, we're going to go ahead and get this started. We're going to look at this Flatwoods Monster. Okay?
Without further ado.
So, if you remember the rules of Appalachia... You see something strange, then no, you didn't. You ignore your name if it's being called.
Absolutely. We learned that the last time.
Yes, we did. When being stalked, don't run. Don't whistle in the woods. Don't look at the trees because...
there might be something there watching you.
Yep.
And they're always watching you.
Always watching. As I discussed with you guys last time, the mountain range goes from Alabama to Pennsylvania in the States. We were looking at Canada last time.
With the good old windy boys.
Yes, these mountains are so old, and we are going to focus on the Flatwoods Monster, which is in West Virginia. This event that I'm going to be discussing with you tonight takes place in the village of Flatwoods on September 12th, 1952. Ed May, who is 13, and Freddie May are playing football in the schoolyard with their friend Tommy Hare. And as they're playing football, they see a red pear-shaped light flying through the sky, and it crashes. Well, okay, so some takes say that it crashed, some takes say that it was flying through the sky and then it just kind of stopped and landed. Okay. And it lands on G. Bailey Fisher's farm.
I just want to comment real quick. Do you think it's interesting that this takes place just a few years after the Roswell dealie?
Oh my God, does it?
1947.
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think about that. That is wild. Holy cow. Yeah, see, this week's dedicated to my dad. Okay. Too bad our listener library is in all alien stories. We should have themed it. Someone actually asked us, are you guys going to theme your library? I was like, we don't have enough.
Oh, yeah. So that might be a future feature that we can start doing. And once we get more in, that'd be neat.
Yeah, so. But back to it. So the boys who are playing football, they go and they grab the May brothers' mother, Kathleen May, who was a beautician at the time. And all of them go to the nearby farm. So as most of these stories go, there are a few different takes. I think in total there were 6 people and a dog. I think that's right.
Even the dog had something to say.
Even the dog had. This is courage.
Oh, right.
So I believe there's 6 and the dog. One of the boys is named Eugene Lemon. He is 17 years old. He is in the National Guard, and he is one of the contradictions. So some of these stories say that Kathleen ran to retrieve him. Other stories say that he was already there, that he came from elsewhere.
That's mom, right? That's
Kathleen is mom. Yes.
Okay.
There are other stories that say all of these young boys, because she's got a group of children with her. Okay, she basically took the Lost Boys along. All of them were playing football. There are other renditions of the story that say they caught up to them when they were on their way there. Okay, so just know there's a few variations, but they're all there. And so when they're there, they notice a mass. And the mass is a glowing hunk of ember, basically. It's just a bunch of coal, mushed together.
It's molten rock or whatever.
Basically, yeah.
Metal.
And they notice this, and then they notice that the dog is losing his mind, and there's something off to the side in the dark. And when they look at it, it comes out of the shadows. It's floating across the ground. Yeah. And it hisses. But this thing is 10 feet tall.
I don't like that.
No, yeah. So that's 2 of you. Okay. So it's 10 feet tall. And it has...
That's too tall.
That is way too tall. It's wearing a green metallic suit. And the bottom looks like... Kathleen described it as if her drapes were made of metal.
A bucket dress.
Yeah, a bucket dress. But with folds, I guess.
Okay. So if you flattened a can.
Flattened a can?
Yeah, pressed down on it and it the ends curl out.
What? I don't think that at all.
Okay.
I'm thinking more have you seen those, it's if they take a sheet of glass and they heat it up and then they put it down over the top of something, it gets all the folds in it.
Yeah, I guess.
And then it cools off. I'm pretty sure that's...
Okay, well then we are picturing way two different things.
Well, you know what? I'm going to post pictures and you're going to see that you're wrong. So, yeah. Basically, it was reported to be 10 feet tall. It had a red body and a glowing green face. They said that the arms were too hard to see. It may have had claws for hands, but they described the arms as short and toy-like. And they said that the
Okay.
yeah, right. And they said, what do you think of like Rex from Toy Story? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. These tiny little,
yeah, meh. But
just like flapping its little arms around.
it's Gypsy. It's Gypsy. My dog has little toy arms, you guys.
No, she has noodles.
She has noodles. She is a noodle.
She's the noodle from the first episode.
She's a noodle from the first episode.
Waving her little arms around, you know.
Yeah. Oh, God. We're tired. But this thing's eyes were flashing from like yellow to orange to red.
So you know what that kind of reminds me of?
I know.
Do you remember the old like Scooby-Doo, like the original cartoon?
I know exactly what you're talking. You're talking about that.
The spaceman monster that was just like a skull instead of a space helmet that like glowed.
I wonder.
Like, yellow.
Oh God, yeah, I know
scared
exactly.
the crap out of me when I was a kid. No joke.
I didn't like the noises it made. Scooby-Doo is adorably spooky, by the way. Just like Courage. So some instances say that this thing like spit on them or shot a liquid at them that was like oily.
Gross.
Yeah, gross. But we're gonna come back around to that. So just know that happened. This story became very, very big. It made local news. It eventually got to larger papers and radio. It was even on CBS. Okay? Yeah, so this was big stuff. You know, it's 1952. There's nothing going on except for Roswell.
Spaceman in the woods.
I mean, I guess there's stuff going on, but like nothing good. Okay?
Right.
While police disregarded this story, A. Lee Stewart, who is the local newspaper publisher, said that they were the most, like, these people were the most scared he has ever seen people. And that people who are that frightened do not make something like that up that quickly. Okay? So he's saying these people were mortified.
I mean, if you saw something 10 feet tall with glowing appendages and...
That spit frickin' garbage juice on you?
Yeah, I think that would be frightening.
Yeah. So
for sure.
Police don't believe this to be true because within a matter of 24 hours, the story has traveled and changed. But that happens with a game of telephone. So police said, well, you know, within 24 hours, this thing went from being 10 feet tall to 17 feet tall. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But who are you asking? Are you asking the people who saw, or are you just like listening to the rumors that are going around town now?
Oh, yeah. Because, you know, Jimmy down the road is probably going to make it sound scarier just that way he can get a reaction.
Right. Embellish it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. There is a theory that it may have just been hysteria because, you know, this was all going on around the time of the atomic bomb. 3 years before, the Soviet Union had successfully tested an A-bomb. Thousands of soldiers were dead in Korea, including 4 men that were 21 and younger that were actually from Braxton County, which is where this is happening, okay? One is U.S. Marine Lantry Frame, who grew up just 6 miles away from the maze.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, there was always the chance that people were anxious, and that's where this was coming from. So that was one theory.
Okay.
Now, when I tell you this thing hit big papers, I don't know if you were taught this in school, but when I was in school, I was taught that Life is a credible credible magazine. Like, it's a very big, very important magazine. Have you been taught that?
No.
Okay, that's what we were taught. Like, it's important. However, I have learned as I have grown up that is not true. So I just want to say that. I'm not saying that these people were lying. I believe in this stuff. I've seen some weird things. I know people who have seen weird things who are just not liars.
Mm-hmm.
But Time Magazine, I don't feel is a credible source. And, I mean, they might be. I don't know. I've never, like, read a Time Magazine, but I know I've seen stuff on the cover and just been like, eh.
Well, I mean, all tabloids can be questionable.
Right. So, Time Magazine publishes the headline, "Have we visitors from space?" So now the Air Force gets involved.
Oh boy.
And okay, I'm sorry. If it's not an alien, why is the military getting involved?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Roswell.
Like, leave it.
Yeah, I was imagining the alien music in my head just now.
What alien music?
You know, like X-Files.
Okay. So the Air Force gets involved and says that it's an owl. Oh, did I tell you it had a spade-shaped helmet?
No.
Okay, well, it's got a spade-shaped helmet. A little late to the punch, but... So this owl has a spade-shaped helmet. Have you ever seen an owl with a spade-shaped head?
I've never seen an owl wear a helmet either. So, no.
Now, I guess I can, like... If the owl was massive...
Also, how? Owls are not that tall.
Right.
They're large birds.
Yeah, they're big birds, but they're not 10 feet tall.
I've seen an owl before. They are probably maybe, like, if they're sitting, they're probably...
Like the size of the dog.
Maybe like 2 feet.
Yeah.
Or less.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of owl.
And they have, like, a big wingspan.
Oh, yeah.
But that ain't 10 feet.
No.
Okay,
Not
and
even
owls
close.
definitely don't spit garbage juice.
Nope.
So, whatever. You know,
Nor do they glow. I mean, I've never seen one glow.
Now, I will say there have been instances of, like, animals, humans getting a hold of them and putting whatever glowing substances, like paints or whatever, on animals.
Okay, yeah, but in the 50s?
Yeah, in the 50s, when women were, like, sucking on paintbrushes that had, like, glowing paintbrush face clock help.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
Like, you know, like, it would make their jaw rot. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my god, Bailey Sarian did a whole freaking thing on it. The women, this is off topic, guys. I'm sorry. We'll get right back to it. But like in the I think it was in the 50s, they discovered this glowing stuff that made stuff glow, and the women would paint the numbers on the clocks, and they would put their little paintbrush in their mouth and dip it in the paint, and like to keep their brush sharp. Like I do that sometimes when I paint. I'll rinse my brush and I'll like put my brush in my mouth, but there's no paint on it.
Radioactive substances.
These women, their teeth started rotting away, their jaws started rotting away and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah, you know, yeah, and that was back then. So yes, glowing paint was there.
Might as well just go eat some like
Acid.
paint chips or something, you know?
Yeah, something. But anyway, back on topic. So
Don't actually do that, by the way. It's poison.
Don't do that. Yeah. If you do it, we didn't tell you to do it. But, you recall I said the creature floated towards them and shot sticky liquid on them. Now, those who were shot the following days, they became very sick. They were vomiting. Their mouths and throats were irritated for days. And a lot of the symptoms that they were experiencing were very similar to the symptoms of mustard gas poisoning.
Oh, damn.
Yes. Also, I believe all of them died from cancer.
Okay.
All of them. Okay. Before sighting this thing going towards the farm, before the boys saw it heading towards the farm, Audra Harper claimed to see something similar walking through the woods near the town of Heaters, which is about 5 miles north of Flatwood. Audra is taking a shortcut through the woods to the store before seeing a ball of fire on the hill. She thought the neighbors were fox chasing. I have no idea what a ball of fire has to do with fox chasing. If you guys know, let me know. I don't know. So ball of fire equals fox chasing. Now, looking back behind her, she sees a tall, dark silhouette of a man thing.
Which is something you never want to do, by the way, in the mountains.
And so she runs. Okay?
Which is also something you don't want to do.
Right, don't run.
Mountains.
We said that at the beginning. Don't run. Another account of this thing. On September 13th, George and Edith Snitowski... God, I gotta try and say this name again. I've already tried to say this name one time, you guys, when I first studied this. George and Edith Snitowski, I think that's right. They're driving through rural Braxton, and their car suddenly dies.
Uh-oh.
Now, something to consider about the car dying, when that thing was flying through the air, and the boys saw it, there were a lot of reports of, like, radios and, like, different things that were on, like, waves being messed with.
Oh.
Okay, so this is messing with radio waves. It's messing, apparently, with car batteries. George and Edith, though, say that the smell of sulfur was there, filling the air, and that a creature that looked like a reptile was standing there. It drug its hand over the hood of their car before disappearing. The car started after it left. Now, they think that they saw this thing, but without the helmet. Because basically their description of it, they literally used the term bucket skirt. It was wearing a bucket skirt.
Bucket skirt.
And it had green armor and like claw-like arms, but it had a reptilian face. So they think that it may have
ditched the helmet.
The only issue with this account, it wasn't reported until 1955. So it wasn't reported until years after.
So that could just be hearsay.
It could just be hearsay. But also, you think you live in a small town like Braxton.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1952, 55, whatever. There's war. There's all kinds of stuff going on. No one's going to want to say, oh, hey, I saw this crazy thing. Like, we already see Kathleen and them getting criticized. The Air Force says it's an owl. The police are saying, well, this is just a story. It's changed in this many hours. So why would you want to come out and be thrown into the crazy bin with the rest of them?
That's true.
They're looking at them, the whole town, saying they freaking hit every branch of the nutty tree on the way down. So who knows? Maybe it is hearsay, but some people just want to protect their peace too. So I know I don't tell people a lot of my stories. I mean, I do now that we have this, but I don't tell people a lot of my stories unless I'm sure they're not going to criticize me.
Right. So, that being said, has this thing been seen again?
This thing was not seen again.
Not since the 1950s?
Not since the 1950s. That was the last time they saw it. I will say that the two brothers said that it never actually, in a documentary, I don't know what the documentary was called. I heard this on a podcast called Crypto Podcast. They said that they had watched a documentary and that the two brothers said that it never spit the oil on them.
Oh, okay.
But they did all still have like the symptoms of mustard gas.
Mm-hmm. They still did get really sick and all that.
Right. They did. Additionally, the two boys, when they talk about this, I'm not sure if they're still alive or not, but when they would talk about this, it was said that they were often like reluctant. Like it was like talking about a traumatic experience for them. They did not like talking about it.
Oh, well, if they were as terrified as they say they were, I can imagine so.
Well, and that's my thing. I don't feel like it's something that, like, a lot of people really want to embellish that kind of thing. And they're like, wow, this weird thing happened to me. You'll never believe it. But, like, these guys do not want to... I guess eventually they stopped doing documentaries because they just didn't want to talk about it anymore. So the town has obviously capitalized on this. You know, they're making money. You can go up there and take pictures with, like, not cardboard, but, like, wooden cutouts, and there's like figurines, and you can buy merch, all kinds of stuff, same as what is going on with the Mothman.
Oh yeah,
they're monetizing off of these people's traumatic experience, which sucks. That's makes me think of that bridge in England, the I love you, will you marry me bridge.
Oh yeah, that's
people will monetize on other people's terrifying experiences. And while I think that this is a really incredible experience, I think these people were obviously very bothered by what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think that monetizing off of it, is that the word? Monetizing?
Yeah.
Or capitalizing on it even, is just not the right thing to do. I don't think it is. Because these guys, they're not making money off of it, first of all.
Right. No.
Like, they don't want to make money off of it. I believe they said that was something that the boy said. They don't want to make money off of it. This is something that happened to them, and it was scary.
Right.
They just want to forget it. And
understandably so.
And move on with their lives. So, yeah. And even so, to me, it just adds, it rubs salt in the wound, because one of these guys, I was watching this documentary, and he's making money off it, and he's like, I don't even believe this thing. Like, I don't believe it ever happened, but he's making money off of it. So he doesn't believe that these people's traumatic experience happened, but he's making money off of it.
He's just exploiting.
He's exploiting it. Yeah. And, like, that's not saying that everybody who's working in West Virginia and, like, selling out of these shops is exploiting. This is an isolated situation. It is this guy that said it,
Right.
you know. But I think that's just, if we are going to make money off of people's experiences like that, whenever they go through something, we need to have empathy, pay attention to how they feel and what they're, you know.
Oh, 100%.
Even if they didn't see it, even if they didn't actually see that, even if it was somehow an owl, okay? You had a 17-year-old boy there who was in the National Guard, signed up for the military, who was scared.
Mm-hmm.
You have a group of people, a small range at least, because there's a woman, there's an older boy, you know, and then there's kids from like the age of, I believe it was like 10 to 13. I might be wrong. But so you got a small range of people. And then you have these other two instances that have been reported. So you have like a little bit of a range here. And all of these people are reporting it, and they believe it happened. You know, whether it was an owl or not, they believe it happened, and it was scary for them.
Right. Don't, invalidate what they went through.
Right. So
for your own gain.
Right. So that's the thing. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be interested in visiting this place, but I am saying if I were going to make money on something like this, I'm at least going to make sure it's something that I believe in. And, if the people are still around or their families are still around, like...
Be respectful.
And, I don't know, offer a part of the freaking money that you're making to them, because you wouldn't be making... I understand it's not a copyrighted situation, but this would not have happened if these people hadn't stepped forward and presented their experience.
Yeah, that's true. So what would you rate this monster? Oh, so it's a little worse than that's scary, huh?
No. Yeah, no. It's, yeah. Wait. Yeah. I couldn't remember the scale. I need it written down in front of us. Yeah, E. What about you? Her brain's too tired to process. She's like, I don't know.
Probably, that's a hard nope. I don't like that. I don't like that it's tall. I don't like that I don't know what it is. I don't like that it's who knows where now.
Oh my god.
Because it hasn't been seen in freaking I don't know. How many years is that? I don't want to math right now.
Almost 100 years.
A lot.
In about 30 years, it'll be 100 years.
Okay, 70 years then?
70 years.
That's a long time. Who knows where this thing is or what it's doing, or maybe it's some kind of reptilian and now it looks like us. I don't know. I don't like that.
God. Oh, geez, you're freaking funny. But yeah, so that's it. That is the Flatwoods Monster. I think they should have titled it the Flatwoods Alien. But whatever. I don't know. Do you think the rules of Appalachia apply to this one? Because it's not really like from Appalachia.
If it lives there still, maybe.
Okay. You're like, but otherwise, it probably had its own rules before it came to Earth.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So, yeah. So that's fun. So you guys, that, again, was the Flatwoods Monster. If you enjoyed this episode, then be sure to like and subscribe, follow us, rate us, give us feedback. We want to know how we can better ourselves. We want to know what we can do to engage with you guys and keep things, interesting for you. Again, once we get to 10 episodes, hopefully we can open some more social media pages so that we can interact with you guys. Share us with your friends, share us with your family, whatever you got to do. Share us with your cat, your dog, all of them.
Mom, dad, grandpa.
Everybody. Yeah, everybody. My mom and dad are listening. I don't know if my grandpa would listen. But, yeah, you guys can listen to us. We are now on Apple Podcasts. You can listen for free on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Pocket Casts, Deezer, Listen Notes, Player FM, and we are on YouTube. Just the audio, though. No video yet. If we start doing good enough, then we will definitely get that going. You can also find us on Instagram at macabatmidnight podcast. That is macabre_at_midnight_podcast. That is exhausting to say, you guys. I'm so sorry, but that was the only way I could get the name. If you have stories that you want to share, you want to hear read on Wednesdays, or you know someone who writes stories or has a good experience, or there's something that you want to hear us talk about on our podcast, you can email us at macabre@midnight@outlook.com. Until then, stay spooky, and we will see you in your nightmares.
Sweet dreams.